Welcome to Off the Top Wrestling. This is Scalz. He is Cam, and we are here with our This Week in Wrestling show. How's everybody doing tonight? How you doing, Cam?
Pretty good, man. Ready to get into the show. Pretty hyped for the Royal Rumble tomorrow night. And so a lot of things happen in this week in wrestling. So yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
So, what are we going to start with? We're going to go right into Smackdown? What do you want to go reverse this week?
Yep.
So we'll start with SmackDown?
Yep.
So, overall, I thought this was a decent SmackDown. Not what you really expected from a go-home show, so to speak.
Right.
But we did have a bunch of people announce their entries into the Rumble, which I kind of didn't like too much. I like the idea of the surprises.
Right.
Thank you, Phil, for the follow. We appreciate it. What were your thoughts on how many they added into the Women's Rumble?
Man, they had a lot. They added a lot of people to the Women's Rumble, and I don't know. I'm with you in that. Like, I just don't, because I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it, but I just don't. I don't want to constantly keep being reminded of who's in the Rumble. Like we can already kind of guess who's in the Rumble, who's a part of the active roster. But we don't need segments constantly for the next 3 to 4 weeks leading up to the Rumble to be reminded of who's in the Rumble, or I'm declaring I'm in the Rumble and I'm going to win it. I just don't think it's necessary. So yeah, I'm with you with that. With it being a surprise, and it makes you want to tune into it more. You want to see certain people come out at random numbers or whatever. It just makes it interesting. That's a part of the excitement, if you will, for the Rumble. So yeah, I didn't particularly care for it, if you will.
So, I mean, we're still at what? Only 10 or 11 announced for the women's? Is it roughly around that number, or is it a little bit higher?
I think it's roughly around there.
Okay. I mean, so we still have a decent amount of surprises. The men's were down to, 14 now with the announcement of Brock?
Right, yeah.
Which I don't like that he's in the Rumble. I really don't. Because it worries me.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm confident, though, because I don't think they're going to do that to us. At least I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah.
So
everything I've heard is that he's going to be fighting Gunther at WrestleMania. So hopefully this leads to a match between Brock and Lashley at Elimination Chamber, and then he goes off that way.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully.
But so let's talk about tonight. The first match of the night, we had Rey Mysterio versus Karrion Kross. Now,
yes,
I love Karrion Kross's entrance. One of the best in the business right now. But how do you have him lose again?
Yeah, that is a tough situation. I missed probably the first chunk of this match. I probably got to watching SmackDown probably 8:15 or so. But again, I love this story. I think it's a very underrated story right now in SmackDown. I just love the storytelling between Karrion Kross and Rey Mysterio. I think it was a great match because I really didn't want to see them wrestle because I just felt like, man, this is such a massive mismatch. Karrion Kross being the powerhouse and Rey Mysterio being the underdog. It just didn't look like it'd be much of a match. So it definitely looked like a much more exciting match. One of the things that caught my eye that I liked too was that Ray kind of went back to the old school match. It didn't have that whole cutout in the back and it had the whole furry mohawk thing. It was one of the classic masks. Well, I definitely did like that as a throwback to some of his old ring attire and things like that. But it was still a good match for what it was.
Yeah, it definitely was. I just didn't like the end result.
Yeah, I feel you. The end result was a little surprising. I definitely think that they're obviously the end result. They're going to drag this out for another match. which, like I said, I don't mind because, like I said, I love the storytelling between the two of them. Um, so I don't know, man. I don't think it hurts Karrion Cross. I just think he's gonna grow. He's gonna continue to grow from this,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing some great character work. So yeah, it's definitely a shocking end result, but I think it would have been too. It might have been too predictable this match because it wouldn't you wouldn't have enough room to have a second match because it would then be Ray, who's the underdog, trying to fight up to try to even the score in their feud or whatever. So yeah, obviously they're gonna have Ray win the first match just so it just fuels Karrion Cross and injects even more emotion and more hatred between the two of them in this feud. So yeah,
No,
all in all, interesting ending. So
I didn't think of it that way. That's a good way to think of it. That they are going to lead to the second match. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So let's move on to the next segment. The surprising announcement of A Town Down being on SmackDown, which I stayed off social media today. I'm staying off social media tomorrow because I don't want to see any potential leaks. And as hard as this is for me to do, I want to be surprised tomorrow in the Rumble. So I had no
Right,
idea that he was going to be on SmackDown, even though they said it's been rumored all day. So
right,
I thought this was a good segment because then we got to see New Day with the NXT Championships, showcase them a little bit, hopefully get some eyes on NXT. And then we had The Miz show up, and then Lashley, and all of them hit their music. And then you had Brock come through the crowd, which surprised the hell out of me because you didn't see him coming. Like it just made the whole segment like that much better. Like, oh, Brock can come from anywhere. Like he doesn't because normally he was the person that always had to come out through the entrance. He never. I don't think I've ever seen him do this. So
right,
that actually makes it a little bit more intriguing and shows that Brock is back to being Farmer Brock essentially.
right. Yeah, definitely. They are definitely using Austin Theory the right way. The man right now, I think, is a workhorse for the United States Championship in that mid card scene. So it was definitely surprising to see him on SmackDown. I liked the promo that he put on, and I noticed he said, and I think he's pretty sure he said this before, but he keeps saying the champ is here, just
Mm-hmm.
like how Cena used to. So now I'm not one that kind of picks out certain things, little things here and there, and then goes, oh, maybe this could lead to this, or maybe this could lead to that. I usually just let it play out and see where it goes. But I heard him say that tonight, and I was like, man, I'm like, this could lead to him versus John Cena, maybe WrestleMania. I don't know. That would be.
From
I definitely him on the mic. He's great on the mic. Great promo. And then of course the New Day came out. Love to see it. The Rock and NXT Tag Team titles, getting more eyes on the product. It was going well, I think, until the Miz came out. Then it was just kind of like, okay, now we're kind of sort of spiraling out of control because it was like, okay, they did. I'm sure they realized this is a 2 hour show. Like we don't need to eat up so
mm-hmm.
much time of this or whatever. So I think it kind of went off the rails a little bit after the Miz came out. Um, and then of course Bobby Lashley came out, and everything just broke out
All right.
into absolute chaos. Brock Lesnar came out, left Bobby Lashley laying for a second time. So I don't know. Eventually, I would hope that we're going to get Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar 3. So that's a match I'm definitely looking forward to.
He picked him up with ease. Like it was no problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was so like in awe of how he just did that because Lashley's a big dude, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no way anybody should pick him up that easily. And Lesnar did it. It was. I do
Yeah.
like the Miz was stumbling over his words, and New Day was like, "You mean Chip? Chip?"
Yeah.
So it was an okay segment for me. It did run on a little too long, but once Lashley came out, business picked up.
Right.
I don't really want to talk about the next segment unless you want to. I kind of want to skip over it because it's useless for me. She's a waste of time, it seems.
What was the next thing?
Lacey Evans.
I'll touch on it a little bit. Just her match alone, she looks great. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm not the biggest Lacey Evans fan, but she looks good. I mean, it looks like maybe this rebirth, this third coming of Lacey Evans could be something. Um,
For the fourth time?
it right until she got on the microphone. Got on the microphone and it was like, okay, now you're starting to ruin it. But who knows? Maybe this could lead to something for Lacey Evans. I'm not sure, but it looks promising. That's all I'm saying. And then she broke up the Cobra Clutch to end the match, which was awesome. A nice callback to Sergeant Slaughter. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, apparently that's going to be her new move. She's like the female version of him from everything that they've done.
Right.
Then we had the first match for the tag team tournament, which was changed on the fly after the Viking Raiders beat up Sheamus and Drew, and we got Ricochet and Braun replacing them against Hit Row.
Yep. I'm definitely, like I said, once again, I'm definitely liking the work from the Viking Raiders. This is again, this is like a rebirth for them too. Their whole heel work and slight character change for them is going very well. Them on top of Legado del Fantasma and Imperium are some of my top picks to eventually become SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So I liked it. I didn't like the fact that it started to be a match with Drew and Sheamus, and then it turned into them just getting jumped or whatever. I'm not crazy about that. I'm just not crazy about them teasing matches on live shows, and then them not, somebody getting taken out or whatever. It's kind of a waste of time, waste of TV time, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it served its purpose for the Viking Raiders because it just puts them over again as these evil, maniacal tag team, force to be reckoned with in the tag team division. So it served its purpose for the Viking Raiders for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it worked well. We're still seeing Ricochet and Braun team together. Ricochet has come out and said that he does like the team between them two, which I did mention on your TikTok tonight. But it's just a weird combination. But if they're enjoying it, why not?
Yeah, why not? And if it gets Ricochet some more exposure on TV, I'm all for it.
And then after that, we had LA Knight. I flipped the channel real quick because I thought they went to commercial. And then I came back and I was like, that's not Bray. And then I realized it was LA Knight. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
And
it's
good.
Go ahead.
No, and I was gonna say, and then we saw him take off the clothing, and then all of a sudden it's LA Knight. And he goes, yeah, like he's so good on the mic. We're witnessing just two great promo people going back and forth. It's something that we should just be in awe of.
Absolutely. When he first came out, I honestly thought, because I went live on my TikTok for SmackDown, and during the moment when the music hit, like I wouldn't really pay attention to the entrance theme. So, but when I saw the entrance and saw him come through the smoke or whatever, and in the dark, the entrance or whatever, I honestly thought it was Baron Corbin because that's what it looked like at first. I was like, "That's Baron Corbin." Like I had to look around the phone camera. I was like, "Oh, that's LA Knight." So that kind of freaked me out a little bit. But it was absolutely genius. I definitely liked the fake out. I definitely liked that he was using the Eater of Worlds Bray Wyatt theme song for this, and it's a feel good moment when LA Knight gets on the microphone, and he's finally over. Like it's finally starting to connect. I mean, he's getting LA Knight chants before he even said anything on the mic. He's getting he's getting loud yeah chants every time he goes yeah. So he's over. It's a feel good moment because I think he's worked so hard to get to this point. And when he first I guess reverted back to LA Knight on the main roster, and at first I think it wasn't working. Fans didn't really know how to take to him, but this feud has definitely helped and worked wonders in getting him over. So yeah, LA Knight is, and like you said, LA Knight is just wonderful. He's awesome on the microphone right now. So yeah, big thanks to LA Knight, man, for sure.
And then Bray just freaked him out, like how he just appeared out of nowhere on the chair. Like he was like, how'd you do that? Like
Yeah,
so, and then Bray can just cut a promo just by talking, like, and it's just so good. And he's like almost essentially just saying, "Be careful what you wished for." Like, like you're gonna get to see what you were wishing for. Once these lights go out, that's it. And then you
right,
had Uncle Howdy show up and just added more intrigue to it. Like, what is he gonna do?
right.
So this is probably the most excited match that I want to see outside the two Rumbles.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yep.
I I I want to see all of them because I think every match is going to be good tomorrow night because they're only doing the 5 matches, so I think they're each going to get time. But I'm intrigued on this one because of the match itself, the pitch black match. We've never seen one, and then it's Bray. Like I can't be mad at Bray.
No, absolutely.
After that, we had the other tag match, which was a really good match between Legado and Imperium. And we got Imperium, so now we know who the finals are. And then we had the Cammy and Kevin Owens and Solo match in the main event. What was your thoughts on that match?
Um, the main event.
Yeah.
Oh, the main event. I thought was pretty good. Um, it was a wild turn of events. You had Sami Zayn come out and try to save Solo Sikoa, and that ended up turning Solo Sikoa accidentally ended up super kicking Sami Zayn. So who knows? Again, that's just another little notch in this amazing storyline that they've been telling the last few weeks and months. And we'll see if that comes into play and see if that uh, starts to be a story between Solo and Sammy. But I thought it was a great match. Like I said, Solo is great. I don't think he can put on bad matches. Same thing with Kevin Owens. I think Kevin Owens is great on the mic and in the ring. So again, with him going against Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens going against Roman Reigns this Saturday at the Royal Rumble. I think it just feels different. This doesn't feel like number one. It doesn't feel like the same Roman Reigns as their first two matches they had, and it doesn't feel like the same Kevin Owens. So it definitely feels a lot different. So I don't know, man. It could go either way. It really could. You know, logically, my brain's telling me that it's going to be Roman Reigns. I just don't realistically see them taking the title off him. Uh, but a part of me is almost doubting that as well and saying that they might go and throw a curveball at everybody, at all of us, and have Kevin Owens win both titles come Saturday. And that would be shocking.
That would be the
I don't know
ultimate
if it's the right
curveball.
move. I think I don't know if it's the right move because I think it would take the air or the importance out of Roman losing the titles at WrestleMania, which is where he should lose the titles at. But who knows, man? I mean, it literally could go either way, and I'm all for it. It just makes that match even more exciting to tune into.
I do like that Kevin Owens earlier in the night during his little interview brought up the fact that he should have had the titles 2 years ago in the at the match at the Royal Rumble, and because he said if it wasn't for Roman, Paul Heyman, and the Bloodline, he would have been champ. So I do like that little nod and throwback to that match. I like the fact that Solo kicked Sammy because they made it look like it was an accident, but Solo looked like it was intentional. And I'm curious as to how Roman is going to react tomorrow night because he said, I don't want to see you until Saturday. So that's another little wrinkle onto that. This bloodline story with Sami Zayn is just, there's nothing better right now. Like, honestly. It just keeps evolving every time they're on TV, and it's so good. So, overall, what was your thoughts on SmackDown?
Like I said, I thought it was a pretty good show. My rating for this out of 5, I'm going to say it was a 3.4 out of 5. Not a bad show.
Yeah, I'm roughly right there with you. I thought it could have been better for a go home show, but it got its point across on a lot of different aspects. They built for a match. They built to a match for next week, in regards to the women's championship with Sonya versus Charlotte again. So I like how they're building things out and they're actually promoting stuff instead of just announcing it the day of.
Right.
So I thought it was a decent showing. What do we want to move on to?
Moving on to NXT, I believe. Yeah.
You want to do NXT or AEW?
We can do. Yeah, we can do NXT.
Okay. I didn't watch NXT.
Oh no!
But I do know what happened in the main event in regards to the talk show or whatever it was with Roxanne and Toxic Attraction. I do like how like that little swerve, how they made that maybe it was making her believe, oh, we are going against each other, we're fighting against each other, and then boom, it was all against her, and then they stood above her and held the belt, and they're a united front. I don't think that's gonna last though. I think when the time comes at the match, that's it. Like the one person's gonna hit somebody by mistake, and then it's all going downhill from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Honestly, like I said, you didn't really miss too much on NXT. Nothing super spectacular happened. There was another heavily focused women's night, if you will. They had a lot of women's matches. They're focusing heavily on the women's division and building up new stars and such. I agree with you on the main event. It was interesting to see them go back and forth pretty much that whole segment until the end of it. Love that. I thought that was brilliant. But yeah, like you said, it's not going to last. I mean, they'll team up probably half of that match at Vengeance Day, and then somebody's going to hit somebody by accident, and then it's just all going to break down from there. But yeah, other than that, I got a few things to talk about, and that's pretty much it. We can move on to NXT, but NXT overall was an okay match. I mean, okay show. I will say, my girl Tiffany Stratton, ever since she came back, it seems like she's headed for a pretty big push. It seems like they're heavily focusing on Tiffany Stratton, and like I said, everything I've said this before, but everything but her gimmick is what I'm crazy about. I don't care for the daddy's girl gimmick. I don't like that at all. I think that's horrible. But in the ring, though, I think she's amazing. She's put in the time and the effort, and she's definitely something for somebody. I think she's only been wrestling for like 2-3 years now, so she's amazing in the ring. I think, and I think she's headed for a pretty big push. But yeah, other than that, it was an okay music thing.
There was the tag match, right, between Kaden Carter and Katana Chance and Alba Fire.
Oh yes, yes.
And then I did see that, so that's why I know about that one. And then Alba Fire was ready to take him on 2-on-1, and she got a surprise somebody to come out. Which I was surprised on who it was, honestly.
Yeah.
It was, as you were saying, it was Sol Ruka, who has impressed immensely since she's been on the brand.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely think I said this live on my stream on Tuesday, but I think and it sounds bad, but I think she's the next Charlotte Flair, and I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a bad way where they're gonna push her to the moon. She's going to be 15-time champion. No, that's not what I mean when I say that. I just mean that I think she's the next player like female wrestler to be called up to the main roster. She has everything they're looking for. I mean, she's tall, she's athletic, she has incredible ability in the ring. She has the total package right now. So I think she's the next player in that regard. So yeah, I'm very much impressed. I've seen very little from Ruka in the ring, but from what I have seen, I'm very impressed.
And her
So I
finisher,
definitely want Ruka.
her
So
finisher is nice.
oh yeah, her finisher is absolute perfection. So yeah, she's the real deal for sure.
Was there anything else about NXT?
Yeah, that's pretty much about it.
All right. So that was a quick one. That's fine. NXT really hasn't been that good yet. I think they're more focused on the main roster right now because of the Rumble. But once the Rumble hits, I think next Tuesdays should be a big episode for NXT because the following Saturday is Vengeance Day, is it not?
I think so. Yeah.
Vengeance Day is the 4th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So next Saturday will be Vengeance Day. So next Tuesday should be a really good show. So I'll make sure to pay attention to that one.
Yeah.
So let's skip over to you want to do Monday Night Raw first and then leave AEW for last?
We can do that.
So Monday Night Raw, I thought was a really good show. Like, I understand it was Raw 30, there was lots of legends there and everything, but they used it to build a lot as well. Like, the legends actually made sense. They weren't just shown to be shown. And that's what's different than the past. Normally they're just trotted out there, displayed, announcements. The only one that was like that this week was the man who opened the show in Hulk Hogan. Everything else played a part in some sort of story. And I thought that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it was a pretty good show. I think the first half, the first hour or so, was probably one of the best hours of Raw. I think, probably in months, probably the last few weeks or so. So
Months.
yeah,
I want to
definitely.
say like half a decade.
It could be definitely. But no, Raw 30 was pretty great. I love how because I always watch for just even the littlest tiny biggest things with the visuals that they show and things like that. But I definitely like the visuals that they were showing, and they were playing like in between commercials, and when they came back on air, they were playing like they were going through like the audio list, the track list, if you will, of old Raw themes. I thought that was fantastic. They were showing some old Raw pictures from the past, from the Attitude Era and the 2010s. So I definitely like that. So they showed pictures of like the Nation of Domination, and we saw Eddie in China and so on and so forth. I thought that was great. And definitely the legend served a purpose, as you were just saying, except for the opening with Hulk Hogan. But I thought it was great. Like I said, the first hour I think was better. As it went on, I think it kind of lost its purpose. It's like they got kind of confused, or they got kind of overwhelmed with how much was involved with Raw 30. But yeah, definitely, I think the first hour was better. Was the best thing I think we've seen with Raw in a while.
The trial of Sami Zayn.
Oh yes.
As they would say. Mwah. Chef's kiss.
Hmm. Absolutely, the way they played that out was just genius. Like, because I didn't know, like, hearing about the trial of Sammy, from SmackDown. I didn't know, like, I really didn't know where they were going to go with that. But I expected the bare minimum. I was like, oh, okay, they're just going to say a few things on the mic, whatever. But the way they play that out, and of course, I mean, come on, clap it up, bravo to Paul Heyman, obviously. Um, and he was pretty much just the one that was narrating this whole case, and they're showing these clips of, you know, Sammy sort of plotting against the Bloodline and in cahoots with Kevin Owens on the screen. I thought that was brilliant. Like it was little things that they pointed out with these video clips that I didn't even pay attention to. Like
Right.
it's crazy how they have such an eye for these little things that probably most of us don't even pay
And,
attention to.
and we pay
So,
attention to details. Like we look for
right,
things, and
right,
I couldn't believe I was like, oh my god, I didn't realize that. And I try to
right,
make sure I'm paying attention to like the little details.
right. So the fact that they pointed out those little details that even the person that's got a microscope, like it's crazy. So yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. Um, and then for Sammy to just kind of be like, "Well, I have no defense. Simply, I have no defense." And then Jay kind of stepped up and he defended Sammy, which was very unexpected because Jay was the one that was calling out Sammy long time ago,
Yeah,
even before this was even a thing.
he had the most reservations about him. So for him to be the one
Right,
to defend him, it's like a total 180.
right. That speaks volumes for sure. So yeah, man, it's definitely once again, like I said, the Bloodline and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens storyline is the best thing right now we've got. And every single week, it's just like a puzzle. Like every single week, even when you look at it, you stand back and you look at it and you go, okay, I think I have all the puzzle pieces connected. I think I'm done with this puzzle. Nope. The next week, the next episode of SmackDown, the next episode of Raw, there's another big piece that goes into this whole picture, and you're just like, wow, like it's the most it's the most interesting thing in terms of the storylines that we have going right now.
Yeah, and like you were saying, the way Jay did everything, and then he's introducing all this evidence, and it's like, yep, I remember when Sammy did that. I remember when Sammy did that. Yep, I remember that too. It's like, damn, they just used like everything, and it's like, you saw Roman's mind like turning, like, maybe Jay is right, and then we know the results where you're not guilty for now, and it's like,
Right,
what's coming from this? And
right,
it just keeps you intrigued. They drag it on, and it's like you want the answers, but you also want to know what the future is going to hold. So it's just perfect storytelling right now between the entire thing with the bloodline.
absolutely. One of the other things that I noticed too was that the fact that, well, for one, Paul Heyman he acknowledged the ECW chants, and then
Yes.
he was like, "Well, ECW is dead," and that just like killed everybody, and everybody just started booing that or whatever.
And
Once again, like I
it,
said, this makes Paul Heyman an even bigger genius than he already is. He knows how to control a crowd. He knows how to cheer them up. He knows how to just absolutely break their hearts. So he's a
and
mastermind.
he was
Microphone.
like, ECW is dead, just like Sammy will be. It's like, damn, Paul, damn.
Yes, great.
But yeah, that first segment on that show, I love the fact that they went commercial free. It just added to everything. And then they go right into the match for the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Mm-hmm.
And that match was so good too. Like again, like you mentioned before, I don't like the way they change things with the match, but this goes back to when it happened with Judgment Day. So they tied it into here to be like both teams are now on a level playing field because it's not the original teams of who it's supposed to be.
Right. You know, it plays into the unpredictability thing. So ultimately, I think it works out. Um, I liked, I did like I did kind of like it here. The WWE has been using this whole like injury fake out thing a lot on TV here lately. Um, and you know, I think eventually that'll get kind of stale, but it has played out. Every time they have done it so far, it has worked out. And it has worked wonders into the storylines and into the matches that they have. So when Jimmy got hurt, during the match, I was like, oh my, it faked me out, like it scared me. Like I was like, oh man, this can't happen. Not now. They're on the run of a lifetime. This can't happen. On the road to WrestleMania or whatever. So, and then putting Sammy in there, I just think again was just absolutely genius, stroke of sheer genius. So, yeah, it played out in the long run. Another banger from the Bloodline, another banger from the Usos. So, yeah, man, like I said, sky's the limit for them for sure.
Um, yeah, it just. And then you had the 1D done with Jay and Sammy.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
like. Sammy was like, "Really? We're doing this?" Like,
yeah.
it's like the kid in the candy store that the mom said you get extra 2 pieces of candy.
Absolutely.
What did we have after that? They went to the little backyard, the back stage area with the Godfather and Farouk. How they started with Corbin and JBL, and
Oh yeah,
they were talking about the APA agency, which I thought was a nice throwback.
yeah.
I liked all the little poker segments that they did.
Oh yeah.
It was intriguing because then you started off where they got their way in, they essentially bought their way in, then they were playing poker, and then at the end when they had won everything, they lost everything because you had the $1 Million Man do what he always does, spends his money, and then you had a nice little cameo by none other than IRS.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was a pretty good segment for sure. Um, I love when the Godfather kept calling Baron Corbin Barry.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. So yeah, it's like I said, it's always good to see the legends. They always place them in these funny segments backstage. So and I like the poker segments as well. So we got to see DDP. DDP, I mean, that's got to be one of the hardest non-wrestling talents. So I mean, he was on AEW, now he's back with WWE. So it's always good to see DDP as well. So yeah, I like those segments as well. Pretty good.
You saw Alundra Blaze, which
Ah,
wasn't she also on AEW recently or no?
ah, was she? I I think she was. I think I know what you're talking about. I think she was.
Or was it she might have been on NXT.
Yeah.
Might have been one
Yep.
of the two. But
She was.
that was nice to see it. And you had Chad Gable back there. Like most people, like Chad Gable's unappreciated with everything he does.
That's back.
And just the little things that he does while he's doing like these little scenes, I thought are genius.
Yep.
Let's move back out to the ring now, and then this is where we had LA Knight come out to the ring. And like I said earlier with SmackDown, LA Knight's not never has a bad promo. It's just great, and he's challenging anybody to come out from the back. And I was like, they're not gonna have Bray come out. I didn't know who they were gonna have come out to be the person to challenge this. But then you heard the dong from The Undertaker. And I was like, there's no way they're doing this. And they started doing the full music. And then all of a sudden it went to the American Badass. And I was like, yes!
Yes,
Because
sir.
he wanted to come back and do one more thing with this. Because it was a big part of his career as well. So I'm glad he was able to get this. And it just fit perfectly with everything that they did.
Absolutely. Literally one of my favorite moments. No, not one of my favorite moments of Raw 30. I loved the Undertaker American Badass gimmick. Loved it. Loved it. Some of his best work, I think. And yeah, man, it was so unexpected. I definitely didn't see that coming. So it was definitely great to see him come back. He still looked great, obviously, and loved how he had the motorcycle and everything. The whole 9 yards was great to see him back. And then, of course, you had Bray Wyatt come back after LA Knight tried to escape Undertaker. And then after that, LA Knight came back in the ring and then almost got chokeslammed by the Undertaker, but then Undertaker ended up giving up LA Knight to Bray Wyatt for Sister Abigail, and then after that they shared a little bit of a moment. Undertaker said something to Bray Wyatt in his ear or whatever. I'm not sure what that was, and a lot of people have said that it looked like it was a passing of the torch from Taker to Bray Wyatt. Could have been. If I had to speculate, maybe Taker said something like, I don't know, this is your yard now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Just a speculation. I love the fact that Undertaker came out and just his sheer presence and his even the tone of his music, him coming out on the motorcycle, everything about him, he got a reaction and he didn't need to get on the microphone not once. The man came out and didn't speak a word and was so over it was deafening in that arena. So that speaks volumes about
He is the only person ever to do that consistently.
Yeah.
He never needed to speak. And when he did, it usually was just rest in peace, and that was it.
Yep.
And he was probably top 3 most over wrestlers ever.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I just hope they use this to help Bray and to keep his momentum going after this match. Because if it essentially was a passing of the torch from Undertaker to Bray, we should be excited for things to come with Bray. That's all I have to say with that.
Yeah.
Did you see in the backstage segments, one of them when Gargano was there and Dexter Lumis was there, and Lumis was shining up an axe?
Oh yeah.
I was like, what is this man gonna do with this? Like, who is he going after? Like, it was just
Crazy.
it was so out of place, but that's so Loomis. Like, and that's what made it great.
Yeah.
What do we have next?
I think they were gonna have the cage match.
Yes.
But that didn't happen. I think Becky got attacked or something like that.
So they came out. They did their entrances. They were about to start the match, but Damage Control locked the cage with the 3 of them in there, and just went to town on Becky Lynch. So there was no match. Becky was destroyed. They all come out trying to get into the cage, and they couldn't because the cage was all locked. So Pierce is calling for the bolt cutters. As he's doing that, all 3 of them climb the cage and just sit on top of the cage. Now, I thought there was going to be a good match between the 2, but I loved what they did because it's going to set up for something bigger, in my opinion. Hey, Sammy, how are we doing tonight? Sorry.
I would hope so. For the sake of this feud, I've already voiced my, I guess, distaste for seeing Becky and this Becky versus Becky feud. Because like I said, I want to see Becky versus Rhea Ripley. I think that would be an amazing feud. That icy stare down they had some time ago was that was just money right there. That's all I needed to be. I didn't need them to speak or anything like that, cut a promo or anything like that. Just that stare down that they had at the top of the entrance ramp weeks ago was all I needed to be sold on that feud. So for them to divert and have this Becky versus Bayley thing going on, I don't know. I'm just not really excited about it. But I would think after this whole cage match swerve, I guess that's what you want to call it, there would be something bigger being set up. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe Becky gets some backup to combat Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So who knows? Maybe we could have a 6-woman tag match coming up or something like that. So I don't know. Interesting to thought.
Yeah, people are upset that this got cut to the way it did. I don't know. I heard an interview today with Bailey saying she was happy with how everything turned out. She wasn't upset that the match was cut, and people just are overreacting like always, which sounds about right, in my opinion at least. After this, we had the DX segment with Imperium.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, I was on your stream watching it, and they got me. They got me. When that fifth person walked out, I legit thought it was Billy Gunn. And I was like, they did it. And then I looked again and I was like, you fucker. That's Kurt Angle. And I was like, God damn it, they got me.
Yeah, they pretty much got me too, because I didn't know who that was at first. And then I noticed, well, for one, I noticed they were balls, whoever they were. And I was like, is that Kurt Angle? I was like, because I couldn't tell, especially from the camera angles that they had. And then once they, after the pyro that they did, I looked closer and I'm like, yeah, that's Kurt Angle. And then all of a sudden, and it's like, it was funny because they didn't acknowledge it at all until they started the promo.
Right.
And then they were just like, Kurt? Like, what are you doing here? So, yeah.
And it was just so good. Like, they just played it off, and I don't know, like, they haven't lost anything as DX. Like, they still have it. And it's just so funny that the shtick they do, it's still entertaining to this day. Like, and that was popular, 10 years ago they did that? And it was like, you still get it. You still get the pop off of it. Everybody loves it. And just the way they went about the whole thing. And then Imperium was challenging them. Triple H got in the face of Gunther, and it's like, oh man, I could love to see that. And it's like, unfortunately we can't because of Triple H's heart. And he was like, I'm retired. And Shawn's like, I'm too old. It's like, they all had reasons. And then, I forget what Road Dogg says, but Triple H just goes, sit down, Butterbean. Like, I was shocked, like, at everything. And Kurt Angle, I don't know, like, it was such a good segment. Like, it was a good breakup to what has been happening on the show. And it was needed, in my opinion.
During that moment when everybody was like, well, I'm too old, or I'm retired, it was, can't remember, I think I'm not sure if they had said anything to Kurt Angle yet, but I think once everybody was saying like, oh, I'm out, I believe that, to me, that was the moment that made me so mad, because I was like, that was the moment in my eyes to have Billy Gunn. That was it. That was the moment to have Billy Gunn, have his music hit, have him run down the entrance ramp. Like, that was it right there. Because he's in the best shape out of everybody that's
right.
The remaining of DX.
And who did I tell you else that should have came out with them? I said, could you imagine if it was Billy Gunn and he came running down as the people to replace them? Like, how the place would have went nuts.
Yeah, oh my God. They would have tore the roof off that place.
But then you had Seth come out, you had the Street Profits come out, and then they're trying to figure out, well, we need a referee. Like, what are we going to do? And then they're talking, and Kurt's like, I have an idea. And they're like, not now, Kurt. And he just keeps going. He goes, but I have an idea. And then he's like, I could be the special ref. He takes off his shirt, and then Triple H puts his arm around him and goes, guys, I have an idea. Like, stealing the idea. It was so good.
Yeah. Good segment.
Yeah, that was like the best part of the second hour, in my opinion, for what they did. And then we had a good match between Seth and the Street Profits versus Imperium. I don't actually remember who won that match.
I don't remember who won that match either, really.
Was it Seth and the Street Profits?
I think it was, yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then what do we have next? Oh, that was when Lawler came back and was announcing, wasn't he?
Yeah, Lola came back. I definitely like that because he talked about the jacket that he had on, and he said that he had worn that. I think he said one of the first ever Raws that they did. So I like that. I like the history behind that. So once again, just another just something small that I liked how they added that into the program.
Did they even announce that he was coming out though, or did he just appear?
I think he was amongst the massive crop of legends that they had announced. They didn't. I don't think they announced he was coming out, but I think he was kind of in the lineup. So
So yeah, I definitely did like that little touch. Occasionally, he is good on commentary, but you got to take him in small doses.
yeah, right.
And then we had Ric Flair come out, which I was honestly surprised they allowed him to speak because of everything that happened, and I feel like he was almost slurring his words like he was drunk.
Yeah, I don't know. Rick does not look. He doesn't look very healthy. I can say that very much. Looks like he has seen better days.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't necessarily like how they had Ric Flair come out. I didn't like how he came out, and then he's announcing his daughter, and you already know how I feel about Charlotte Flair. And I get it; she's over right now as a babyface. But for me personally, it's stomach turning to see this babyface run. Just turn her heel because it's easy. It's easier to dislike her when she's a heel. First of all, she's a natural. I'll say this. This is like the only compliment I'll give Charlotte Flair. She's a natural heel. She's a natural heel. As a baby face, it just feels so unnatural. It just doesn't fit for me at all. So I don't know why we needed Ric Flair to come out and put his daughter over even more. She's already. I don't think she can be. It's impossible to put her over any more than she already is. So yeah, I
I
wasn't. This was the part of Raw where I feel like we started to take a hard left turn, and yeah, it kind of never really recovered after this.
I feel like that was like this is your one time to do this, Rick. You're not getting another chance. Just get it done with. We're gonna allow you to do it. Promote her. Be happy for what she has done, what she's accomplished, and just get it all out because we're not gonna have you on our show again. Like that's what I feel like this was. Like it was the one last hurrah for Ric Flair.
Right.
Um, I like Charlotte as a babyface. I, I know it's a struggle for her because she is the natural heel, and I think that's what's making it intriguing because she wants to do the heelish stuff and she catches herself before she does it, and that's why I think it's
Right.
great. Um, yeah, this segment after that was like a car crash you couldn't just turn away from because then you had Bianca come down, they were talking, and then you have like the most I can't think of the right word. Like not energetic. I can't think of like unenergetic person like Sonya come out and talk, and it's just like she's so bland. She's like so monotone. It doesn't. She doesn't add anything to it. Like she's great in a ring, but don't talk. Like just stop.
I love the fact that you said we think alike on this one. I love the fact that you said the word bland because I said it on my stream and I literally wrote it down in my notes. Sonya is more bland than unseasoned chicken. Like she's just so bland. Like she's like a plain Pop Tart with no frosting. Like
And those are
she's
the
just boring.
worst. Those are the worst. Like
She's just boring.
I get the Pop Tarts with the frosting, and I take off all the edges because they're boring.
Like I don't know. I don't know what the game plan is for Sonya, but whatever it is right now, it's not working. Not at all.
I
Because
mean,
she's very
we mentioned on the SmackDown portion that she has a title shot next week. Now, um, she interrupted Charlotte on Ryan Satin's Out of Character podcast. So Ryan Satin got his TV debut on SmackDown tonight.
Mm,
But it's like, all right, Sonya, just enough. Like, it's the same thing every week. Like, move on.
right.
Like, move on. Go back to being a tag team, or go run your donut shop with Mandy. Like, just stop. And then we had the main event, which was a good match. I enjoyed the match. I You knew something fishy was going to happen and something strange when they made it a no DQ. I wasn't expecting that though,
Right.
and it was just so funny how they did it, and I liked how they did it. But when his music hit, that place went nuts. So as much as people hate him coming back and doing stuff, he is a draw, and that's why they
Absolutely.
keep bringing him back.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm probably one of those people. I'm not crazy about Brock Lesnar, but I mean, hey, like I said, he's a draw, and that's what matters most. Um, I didn't like, and I'll get into this later, but I think it definitely affected my rating for the end of Raw 30. But I just didn't like the ending to that match. But you're right, though. I did expect something fishy because I just didn't think they would have a straight up match between Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory. So I knew something was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and as much as I love Austin Theory and I love the work he's doing right now, I think it kind of tarnishes the way he looks just a little bit because, I mean, again, he's a heel. He's not going to always do things by the book and win cleanly and things like that, and that's fine. But with all these random kind of finishes, somebody gets speared and he just happens to be right there, right place, right time, and just kind of fall on top of that person. 1, 2, 3 is going to get kind of repetitive. So I'm not crazy about them, constantly going to the well and running that same end result, which is why I wasn't crazy about Brock coming in and ruining this match, if you will. But again, like I said, in the end, if it gets us to closer to Brock versus Bobby 3, who knows? Maybe it'll be worth it in the long run.
I think they should have had it where he attacked Theory first, then attacked Bobby, and threw Bobby on top of Theory for the title.
That'd have been interesting.
Because then it would have been Lashley versus Theory, Lashley versus Lesnar for the title, for the U.S. title. That's what I think
That'd
they
be
should have done.
I
That would
wouldn't.
have really surprised people.
Yeah.
But overall, for Raw 30, I'm gonna give the show a 4.2.
Oh God, we are there. Yo, because I literally gave the show a 4.21 out of 5 originally, but then after the ending, I changed it to a 3.1 out of 5 just because of the end.
But yeah, I mean, the ending didn't really hurt it that much for me because the first hour and 10 minutes was so good. That's what brought it down to the 4.2. If the ending was better, it would have been like a 4.6 for me. Just because I love the Bray Wyatt segment with Taker and Knight. So yeah, there was more good than bad in this show for me.
That's fair.
And now we move on to AEW.
Yep.
Now, I watched most of the show, and then I turned it back on to watch the ending. And if you didn't cry at the ending of this show, I wrestling doesn't mean that much to you because there was so much emotion with what happened, and then everybody coming together. It showed that wrestling is a family. And if you
Exactly.
don't get that from this, I really don't know what to tell you.
Right. Yeah, man. That's the great thing about the only great thing about this unfortunate tragedy is that it's brought the wrestling world together, fans, and of course the on-screen in-ring competitors as well. No matter what, who cares about what company you work for, whatever, what views you have with this person, that person. It brought everyone together. People in AEW, people in WWE, people outside of either one of those companies. It brought everyone together, and that is what the wonderful thing is about this unfortunate tragedy. It brought everybody together, and at the end of the day, like you said, wrestling is a family. It's one big family, and yeah, that was the cherry on top to this Dynamite on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like how it started. Um, I'm tired of Jericho opening the show. Essentially, I feel like it's the same thing every week lately, and it's just it's the same thing with that. And I know they're trying to be sports entertainers, and they're trying to make fun of WWE with what they're doing. It's not working. Like, you're ruining the show, in my opinion. That's not what AEW is about. AEW is supposed to be the alternative. Action
Yeah,
Andretti and Ricky Starks, like, they're growing. Let them grow. Like, let them be on, like, I don't know.
yeah, absolutely. Um, I don't know. I think the Jericho Appreciation Society. I think it started out really well when they first formed, and I think I liked it the early days of the Jericho Appreciation Society, and then it seems as if like they lost, or maybe they never had one, but it was almost as if they lost like whatever their end goal was, and then just started just doing cartoony kind of entertainment kind of things. They always come out, they're matching. They look like some kind of like I don't know boy band or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just really it just comes off as really carny, really goofy. And I don't particularly care for it because it doesn't seem like it's really going anywhere. Again, and it pains me to say that because I love Jericho. Jericho to me is one of the goats, and it's just it's sad to see, but I don't know. I'm not sure where they're
Like, some,
going.
some of the notes that I took down from this match was the crowd really hated Sammy. Like, they were on him all night. Um, Andretti got the hot tag, and the crowd ate it up. Ricky Starks hit a Liger bomb. But then you had Daniel Garcia help the Jericho Appreciation Society win. And my response to that was just, ugh. Like, how,
Yeah,
how do you keep doing it? How do you keep having them go over them?
I don't know, man. You have two stars right here, especially Andretti, and I think in this match, Andretti definitely shined. I think he carried this match for sure. I mean, of course, Ricky Starks did his thing, but Andretti really turned it up a notch in this tag match, and that's what's gonna kill their stardom. That's what scares me about the push of Ricky Starks. Like they need to cap. They don't need to make the same mistake they've made in the past. They don't need to make the same mistake they made with Hook and keeping him on dark or dark elevation. They don't need to make the same mistake with Ricky Starks and not showcasing what he can really do, or being held down by constantly being passed over by Jericho Appreciation Society of all factions. And it just doesn't make any sense. Like capitalize on Stark now. Don't wait for his stardom to fizzle out. Because you never know what could happen tomorrow. Like fans could be on them now and then not care tomorrow,
Right.
and then you wasted an opportunity to put Starks over in a major way.
Yeah, and the other thing, yeah, Starks, like, he's so good. He is a bona fide star. And if they don't do something soon, when his contract is up, maybe he's gonna walk. As
It
much as
could.
he's getting time on TV, if he's not going to that next level, he's gonna get tired of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
After this match, they did a great video package for Jay Briscoe. some of the stuff we've been seeing on Twitter all week, on social media, everything showing what he did, how great of a father he was, how his kids loved him, everything he did for them. I'm going to sound cynical here, but it was a week too late.
Oh wow.
Like, I don't care what Warner was saying last week. You do what you do. Like, you get this shit on your show. He is part of Ring of Honor. Like, that is a company you own. I don't care what they say. It should have been done last week, not now. Because then the only reason it was done now is because Tony kept fighting for it because of the fan backlash that was announced, that was all over social media.
Right.
So, I thought it was great. I loved it. But it just, to me, was a week too late.
I understand.
After that, we had the TNT Championship match. What was with the faceplate for Buddy Matthews? When has he started to do that?
I don't know. I don't know if he did this. I don't know if he did this for this match, as like a mind games tactic with Darby Allin. I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it just because it just plays into Buddy Matthews' character and it plays into the story for this match, or whatever. And I'm so tired of them doing these TNT open challenge matches. Like I said again, an open challenge match it's just that. It's just open. It's just open ended. It's so empty that I'm not invested in it. Yeah, sure, we get to see people who either within the company, people who are outside the company, like Juice Robinson, and then I forget we saw somebody else before that he faced as well for the TNT title. But
Kushida.
that's what it was, Kushida. Either way, it's like, and that's great and all, but they shouldn't be coming in and getting title matches like that. There's no story behind that. It's so empty feeling. So it's just I want something better for the TNT title. I think it's been booked halfway decent for most of its inception, but what ruins it is when they start. It's just like they don't have any sort of direction or plan for the title or how to book it. So they just say, "Oh, screw it, we're just going to start doing open challenge matches." So I think that's incredibly lazy on their part to do that. On Tony Khan's part specifically to
So,
do that for that championship. So, but overall, I think it was a good match. Again, like I said, I like the Buddy Matthews face paint. Looked like he was just playing some mind games with Darby Allin. Um, After the match, though, I think it was great that we got a backstage on-screen visual of one Samoa Joe,
mm-hmm.
Samoa Submission, and we're finally getting back into what I was just talking about, which is a story, because I still believe they took the title off of Samoa Joe too soon. We were building to something great with Samoa Joe, and they took it off. They took it off of Samoa Joe and put it right back on Darby Allin, and I don't think that was the move. So I like it. I like that we're probably getting back into a good storyline that I can sink, that we all can sink our teeth into. Um, so yeah, maybe they're gonna correct correct the ship, right the ship, if you will, on booking the TNT title better.
So I really enjoyed this match as well. I did like the little things that they did inside the match, where the lights went black and then out came the House of Black. You had Brody King and Malachi Black there, but then you had Sting come out and then they went away. So it just was a quick distraction. It really didn't have any pertaining into the outcome of it.
Right.
Buddy used the stomp. Has he used that before?
I think I don't know if he has or not,
Is that a
but
little?
he also before that he also used the buckle buck. So I think it was the
That's what I was
his
just gonna
roots.
say.
It was I think that was a showing of his roots with being a disciple of one Seth Rollins. So that was interesting to see.
You read right into where I was leading with that, because that was gonna say, was that a tribute to him, like
I
from?
think it was.
So that's interesting. Um, the one thing I did not like about this match, though, is there was a lot of near falls. Like it just kept going back and back. Like it was one after the other after the other. It's like there was nothing to take in from those near falls. Like you didn't have enough time to just soak in what happened and the reactions to them. They just kept going. So
Right.
overall, I thought it was a really good match. I did like the coffin drop that Darby did, where Matthews was hanging over the ropes when he did it, so it was different than normal.
Mhm.
And then he paid attention to the leg and the arm by the ropes to make sure that Buddy didn't just stick his arm under there to break it. I liked the Samoa Joe promo. I felt it was needed. In regards to the TNT Championship, like you said, they need another mid card title because the TNT Championship should be for Friday nights and it should be a TV title defended every week. It should not go back and forth between both channels because Dynamite's on TBS. Like, just change the name of the title. Get TNT off of it if you want to have it on both shows. I don't like that. Like, if they're like how WWE is, there's a Raw, SmackDown. Like, there's a SmackDown Women's Championship, so that stays on SmackDown. There's a Raw Women's Championship. Change the name from TNT to something else. Make it a TV title and have it go back and forth, or just keep the TNT title on Fridays. I think that would help make that show better for Rampage. Because now you're looking forward to something every single week. Whether that starts the show or ends the show, it's giving everybody something to look forward to.
I agree with that.
Adam Cole. Did he come out or was it a backstage segment?
It was actually neither. I think it was a video package.
Video. Okay.
He was like in the ring training, trying to get back into ring shape or whatever.
That's right. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And he said he doesn't know when he's going to come back, and then they panned over to the like the announcement for Revolution, obviously hinting that's when he's coming back.
Right.
I did like that. Do we know what's going on with everybody he was with?
You mean like Kyle O'Reilly?
Yeah, because I know Fish is gone.
I'm not 100% sure. I haven't heard anything on Kyle O'Reilly. I doubt he comes back. Honestly, I think it's just going to be Cole.
I know he was hurt. I just don't know if there was any update on that or not.
Right.
Cole, he's so good. I hate to see him over there because he's already been misused, and I'm afraid they're never going to give him his title that he deserves.
Right.
Next, you had All Ego and Matt Hardy versus Jungle Hook, which are so over with the crowd. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Like I said again, man. Jungle Hook is another great tag team. They're a makeshift tag team, of course, but yeah, no, they're great, and I definitely, like I said, I love what Hook is doing right now. They definitely need to get that pointless FTW title off them or whatever. It holds no weight. There's nothing to it. But other than that, though, I love what he's doing. Again, like I said, and I feel like he still needs to work on his like in-ring timing because it's like he's just going like a million miles a minute, and it's just its timing is like kind of choppy. It does seem like he's smoothing it out from the past times that I've seen him in the ring, but when it's just like in between moves and things like that, it's just like he needs to kind of like smooth it out a little bit. But other than that, I think he's a chip off the old block. He's just like a suplex machine. So I think he's great. Guy's the limit for Hook. I love him. Jungle Boy is finally having something to do after the whole, Christian Cage
Debacle.
feud nowhere. So yeah, I like it.
Debacle. I think that's the best word for it. I did like what happened between Matt Hardy and Ethan Page, how they came out with Matt Hardy's music first, and then Ethan's like, no, stop the music, use mine. Adds a little intrigue into that. It was a good match. Nothing to write home about. It did showcase Hook a little bit. Um, Dude needs a haircut. Like, ridiculous. But I don't have any notes written down after that, so I don't know what was next. Was the women's match next? That was supposed to be the triple threat, and it turned into one-on-one.
I think well, what I have written down, I think was the Danielson and Brian Cage match.
Okay.
I thought this was a good match. Um, it's funny because um, when Danielson tried to apply his signature submission move on Brian Cage,
Mm-hmm.
it was so awkward because he's trying to hook it in, and Brian Cage, I mean he's just he's huge, and it's like his arm, just trying to apply that in was just so awkward because the man just has so much muscle mass. Just looked weird. But man, no, it was definitely an amazing match. Uh, it also showcased the power of Brian Cage. Brian Cage caught there was a move where Brian Cage caught Danielson off of the top rope. He tried to do his I guess you call it his Danielson special where he does like the little moonsault off the top rope over his opponent. He caught him coming off of that moonsault and power slammed him. That was crazy. It was actually into not a power slam, but it was into a shoulder breaker. That was insane. So it was an amazing match. Once again, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Danielson. Still think he's literally the best wrestler on the planet. And I'm looking forward to Danielson versus MJF Iron Man match, which I know we're going to get. So, yeah, awesome match. Probably one of the best matches of the night.
Was Danielson hurt?
During the match, it looked like he was, but I think it was kayfabe. I didn't think
I don't know.
it's just playing.
I did read that on there that somebody's wrestling in his place for this next week. So are they doing it for kayfabe purposes,
I
or is
think
he
they
actually
might.
hurt?
I think they might be. I don't think he's actually hurt, but I think they
Okay.
might be.
What was after that?
Let me see. After that, yeah, after that, then was the what I have down was the Ruby Soho versus Tony Storm match.
Okay. Yeah, that was the one that was supposed to be the triple threat. They announced that Britt Baker was unable to wrestle, so they turned it into the one-on-one. The match was going on back and forth. Was actually a decent match from what I remember. I did see a little bit of that. You had Tony Storm do the running move into the turnbuckle, and it looked like Ruby Soho was knocked off a pinball machine with the way she bounced back off of that.
Yeah, yeah. Another great match. I love finally getting Ruby Soho back on Dynamite. And I think Ruby Soho is starting to get over with the crowd a little bit. There was a Ruby Soho chant. So that's always nice to see. She's worked so hard on screen and off screen. So great to see Ruby Soho getting some appreciation from the crowd. Once again, it seems like the injury fake out week. There was a moment in the match where Tony Storm had faked out Ruby Soho and the refs. They even had somebody called. They had the ref call down the medic for Tony Storm because they thought she
Dr.
was hurt or
Sampson?
whatever. Yeah. And they thought that she was hurt or whatever, and they of course he faked it out or whatever. So yeah, once again doing this whole injury fake out thing with WWE and now AEW. Again, like I said, it worked, but it's been done a lot lately. I've noticed. I like the fact that Tony Storm is now a heel. I think that is going to give her something to work with character wise. Like I said, I've got a soft spot for Tony Storm. I just think she's a great wrestler. But there's just not really much to go off of her character, and I think giving her a little bit of an edge with her being a heel. I definitely like the whole. I guess there's like a kind of like in sort of a softcore invasion angle, if you will, with kind of like the AEW homegrown or originals versus the outsiders coming in. So with with the Rhea thing, Tony Storm going against Britt Baker and the reigning women's champion Jamie Hayter, I kind of like that. I don't like the fact that, in the midst of that story, it's kind of taking away from Jamie Hayter, who is the reigning women's champion. I don't think she should have to deal with stuff like that. She's the women's champion. She should be dealing with women's champion storyline things. But all in all, I think I like it so far. It's showing some good growth, and it's definitely showing some promise in helping the women's division get more exposure on TV and helping them grow. So I don't know. I'm gonna just let it play out, see where it goes.
I didn't like the fact that Britt Baker did come down and cost Storm the match, allowed Ruby to win. Um, if you're taking her out of the match, don't have her there. Like, that doesn't make sense. Because if she's walking out and there's nothing wrong with her, get her in the match.
Right.
Um, the homegrown versus the outsiders, as you were saying, screams too much of AEW versus WWE.
Yeah.
And it's going to end up being a bigger number than 2-on-2. I'm just curious as to where they go with that.
Right.
But overall, the match was decent. All that we have left now, I think, is the main event, though, right?
Yeah. Main event.
I mean, there's really not much to say, except you have to give it up for what Mark did. Because you can't expect him to come out and wrestle a match a week later. He did. You can't expect Jay Lethal to do it because Jay Lethal was one of their best friends. He did. And it just was so emotional, especially when Mark used Jay's finisher to win the match. Like, it was a nice little touch, nice little homage to him. And it ended the night on a good note.
Absolutely. I will say I think this was the best match on Dynamite I think we've seen this year. And never mind the wrestling moves and everything like that. I think it solely was one of the best matches just because of the emotion and the importance to both men. And that was it. That was the match of the night, and definitely one of the best matches on Dynamite we've seen so far in 2023. So I mean, just the look on Jay's face when he came out. I mean, he was
Oh, he was
literally
breaking.
he was distraught.
He was
He,
broken down on the
he was
ramp.
trying to stay professional, trying to stay in the moment and focus on the match. And I mean, he was broken. He literally was broken. And hats off to Mark Briscoe to be able to come out. I love the fact that he came up with both titles, representing his brother, and the best way possible. Incredible match. Love the spot off the top with the elbow drop through the table on the outside. Amazing match. Amazing emotion. After the match, the AEW locker room emptied and showing the respects to Mark Briscoe and the Briscoe family. So yeah, great match, great emotion, great importance, and once again, it just makes it just this shows you that wrestling is just one big and sometimes dysfunctional family.
Um, yeah, he came out with both titles. I don't care what they do in ROH. Those titles are theirs. No one should ever hold that design again.
Yep.
They need to make a new design for it. Um, I don't care how you get the belts off of him, if you ever get the belts off of them.
Right.
Like, they did so much for ROH. Just do what you need to do for that family. Because without them, ROH would not still be going, I don't think.
Exactly.
And it's about time that a Briscoe is on AEW TV. So now let's
Yeah.
make it a regular thing because he deserves it.
Absolutely.
But overall, for the AEW show, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5, and it's just solely because of the Jay Lethal and Mark Briscoe match.
Yeah.
It was just a perfect ending to the
I was
night.
going to do that, but I didn't want to be like that one to just do it just because of that. even
Makes
though
sense.
it makes sense.
Right.
But was there anything else we had tonight?
That was it, I think.
Okay. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe so this way you can get notifications of when we get the new ones. We will be doing a review show of the Royal Rumble. It will be Sunday night. I believe it's going to be 9 p.m. If not, might be a little bit earlier. Just make sure to check off the top media _ on Twitter. That's where I put all the updates. Cam, where can we find you?
You can find me on TikTok at Cam's Wrestling Corner. You can also find me on Instagram at 317 Bacon Eggs and Cam.
You can find me on Off the Top Media on Twitch, where we're at, on YouTube, and then there's also an Off the Top pod on Off the Top LLC on TikTok, and then my personal page on TikTok of Scalz24. Signing off tonight, Scalz. We have the IC champ over there in Cam. We hope you all have a great evening. Catch you on the flip side.